Welcome to the channel, cked. Now if you're new, remember to like, share and subscribe. Now, the state is again facing backlash after implementing policies that were clearly not thought through. Now, the state has reversed its mandatory child seat for taxi operators policy, and the teachers have rejected the payment plan put in place by the government. I'm going to hear what will contain the reasoning. Look and listen.
So, the current situation with the provision for enforcement of a child restraint system in public passenger transportation in itself needs further review. And we have spent the last hour and a half in cabinet going through it, and it is a very deep issue. We have decided, in support of the position adopted by the police, and already explained that they will apply greater discretion in the enforcement of the rule. We have decided that we will make some amendments to the law, and we will do so as quickly as possible. It may come in the form of amendments to the regulations, which can be done very quickly by a ministerial direction, which may not necessarily need to go to Parliament, or if it does, as soon as possible in Parliament. But I think that there has to be even further discussion around safety in public transportation. And that will need a much wider debate and possibly amendment to the law itself, not just the regulation, but to the act itself, which may come in a month or two or so, depending on how fast we can move with consultations and further deliberations on the matter. So specifically, therefore, as it relates to the child restraint system in public transportation, we will make some amendments to the regulations, or as quickly as we can to the law, to give, or both, to reflect the current state of Jamaica's situation as it relates to public passenger transportation.
I am Lesonia Harrison, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association.
All right, so we are at Holness today. Just share the occasion and just tell us, in summary, the happenings from today.
Some 585 delegates would have converged across the 14 parishes of this nation, representing their constituents at the Douglas Arraign Hall here at Holness Boys School to vote on the latest offerings of the Ministry of Finance and Public Service to the teachers. The teachers voted overwhelmingly, 560 rejecting said offer.
All right. So, any word as to what happens going forward?
Well, the teachers have mandated us. We will go back right to the Ministry of Finance and, of course, ask of them to have a sit down with us as professionals of this nation, the pillars of this nation deserving of respect, and that we sit at the table and continue the talks to iron out the remaining issues as it relates to the transitioning of the teachers from our current dispensation to that of the new under the compensation review. The teachers only ask of the government of this nation for a livable wage.
Thank you much.
Now, in this day and age, how take place? It's almost like legislators and actual citizens who have to conduct business and day-to-day life under these new rules and regulations are not being considered. Now, the mandatory Child Seat Act, that's something that's on the books for quite some time. But even when it was drafted, it was a rule that they said you could have used a discretion. Majority of the time, when they say public passenger vehicles that travel, youth who will be put in a child seat will be normally in the parent's hand, or lap rather. And while it would be a good thing, we know that would be a luxury for public passenger vehicles. Because clearly, if you're going to travel with the youth and put them on the seat, you have to go pay a fare for your youth. Even on a JUTC bus, youth of a certain age, you don't have to buy a ticket when you go up on the bus with them. And then the same law also says that JUTC vehicles don't need a child seat. Putting taxi, coaster bus, and minibus drivers and owners and operators in our situation. Now, it's good to see the government has now looked into the policy being put in place and decided, say, what you know, it wouldn't be fitting for what take place right now. And the people are point out with these new road acts and things of that nature, why is there still not any focus on road repair, constructing new roads, and road maintenance? Because of course, a lot of roadway collisions are caused by drivers not following the road code, but also the roads themselves present a challenge. Sometimes when you see a car swing from something on the road, chances are it's a pothole on the road. And sometimes them things cause accident as well. So if the state say these policies and measures are being put in place so that we can have less roadway fatalities, we have to also have good roads. Talk to me if you agree. We cannot say safety upon the roads when the roads themselves in some places are to some extent unsafe. Because some would say the state seems more concerned about the vehicles that citizens are drive than about the road where citizens are drive upon, which is actually the responsibility of the state. The state is not responsible for privately owned vehicles, but it is responsible for the repair, the maintenance, and the construction of roads across the island. Now, I could talk about the teacher them. The teachers them say the wages and the way the situation is being handled. Them are like that. I will see what take place in educational institutions in this day and age. Nowadays, educational institutions are understaffed and sometimes even under-equipped to deal with the day-to-day task, putting teachers in our situation. And going forward, with education being one of the tools that a nation can use to uplift itself as a whole, we're going to need to treat the teachers better. Remember, there are already programs in place where teachers, qualified teachers, certified teachers, can go overseas, go practice teaching. And if schools are already pointing out that in many of the institutions, them still need more teachers, especially when you reach the high school level. You want to go on when more and more teachers decide that they have to go overseas for better wages. Is that something the state are going to need to address? And the teachers them, after them reject the proposal where they put forward. So just like with the Road Act and the child seat for public passenger vehicles, they have to go change up something with the proposal where they put forward to the teachers. I know the state are going to say. The state are going to say based upon the economy and the amount of GDP. But some would say the policies, same policies again being put in place and make it hard for the country to generate a certain amount of GDP. Because the wharves make it hard for the business. Import and export side make it hard for businesses can grow and become big businesses. Well, if a small business now, if they were given the right opportunity, would become bigger businesses. Means that them could employ more people. More taxes, more GDP. The economy would be doing much better. But we don't know. As I say, it's almost like policymakers, people who deal with legislation, are not thinking of the people who they might make the legislation for some reason. I say, look, because people who reside on the Jamaican island, when they are put forward a mandatory child seat for public passenger vehicles, If you have ever been to the island and seen a public passenger vehicle, then you don't know why people are saying, yo, this can't just happen so. And the people who craft these legislation reside on the island. Grew up on the island. Some that say them that know better. Talk to me in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, pass through subscribe icon, then the bell icon, and of course put it on all. And this is how you know will be notified of all fresh content as soon as fresh content is uploaded and made available for you. I want to the reason again, live, love, and prosper, and of course, stay tuned.